Thank you, everybody, for being here. Can I get a roll call for the December 9th, 2024 school board meeting?
Ms. D'Angelo Steele.
Here.
Ms. Liskini.
Here.
Ms. Martindale.
Here.
Mrs. Peterson.
Here.
Mr. Bosso.
Here. Moving on, adoption of the agenda. It's recommended the Board of Education adopt the agenda for December 9th, 2024 regular meeting. Can I get a motion to move that forward?
No, no, yes, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda. I would like to move the calendar vote to a standalone vote.
Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Second, Ms. Peterson. Then you gotta get a roll call.
Ms. D'Angelo.
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson.
Yes.
Ms. Liskini.
Yes.
Ms. Martindale.
Yes.
Mr. Bosso.
Yes. Now, can I get a recommendation to move the agenda forward?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Martindale. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. D'Angelo Steele. Roll call.
Ms. Martindale.
Yes.
Ms. D'Angelo Steele.
Yes.
Ms. Liskini.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Bosso.
Yes. Moving on now to approval of the minutes for the November 18th, 2024 regular meeting. Can I get a motion to approve that? Thank you, Mr. D'Angelo Steele. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Any additions or corrections to that? Seeing none, roll call.
Ms. D'Angelo Steele.
Yes.
Mrs. Martindale.
Yes.
Ms. Liskini.
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Bosso.
Yes. Moving on now, we're going to have one presentation tonight. It'll be School Spotlight with Richard Avenue School, Ms. Anne Marie Rhodes, Principal. Thank you.
Good evening, President Bosso, Vice President Martindale, members of the board, Mr. Banks, and Mr. Garside. If we haven't had the opportunity to meet, my name is Anne Marie Rhodes, and I'm the principal of Richard Avenue Elementary School. I'm really excited to be here this evening to share with you about how we focus on academic growth at Richard Avenue, how we've got some awesome parent and community engagement, and just who we are as a building. Hopefully you'll see how, yes, these are all unique items, but they really truly are intertwined and a really important part of who we are as a building. Next slide, please. We know that academic growth can be looked at and measured in a lot of different ways. Specifically, right now, we're looking at those preliminary fall results from our third graders who took the OST back in October. And that's just one data point that our teachers utilize to plan whole group instruction, small group instruction, and really just make sure that we're meeting the needs of our students, especially before they take that test again in the spring. Our students are in the midst of their winter diagnostic assessment, which is, again, just one data point that we can use to drive instruction. But what's really unique for us right now is our teachers are engaging our students in that process to set goals for those different assessments to really help build some accountability and help them be a part of that process in planning their own learning and celebrating the growth that they're making. Those pieces are measured on the state report card in a few different ways. And on our state report card last school year, we had 3 and 4 stars in those areas related to growth. We've got that progress score, that gap closing score, which are meeting or exceeding those state standards and expectations. But we still have room to grow. It's a never-ending process, and we're always working through that in a lot of different ways. Some of the ways that we've kind of focused and highlighted on building our students' capacities and really focusing on that growth is utilizing our content areas like science and social studies to keep our students engaged and tie that academic vocabulary together and really truly help them find and build and foster that love for learning in a lot of different ways. You can see some really fun kind of activities from the fall of this school year, our second and third graders engaging in some different science experiments and observation techniques. And one of my favorites is just really partnering with our older students and younger students for some buddy reading, some math games, because we know that our students not only can learn from themselves and their teachers, but from the other students in the building. Next slide. We have some amazing community members and parents that really truly are a part of who we are as a community. We've had some wonderful events this year that really have brought in different groups of families, different groups of our community along the way. You'll see some pictures that have parents and students together. Those are from 2 different events that we've had so far this school year. At this point, all of our grade levels have had a grade level morning where family members, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins have been able to join their student. They learn a little bit about our building, about Title I funding, and then our teachers bring the students down to the cafeteria and they play math games together. They learn about what math or reading activities are important for that particular grade level. And that's been a shift. This is the second year we have run those programs that way, and just hearing student and parent feedback about how the evening had progressed before when it was the whole school together at one night. We kind of took some of that feedback, and we just finished our last one on December 3rd. So we've got some feedback out and some surveys out to families to just kind of see again how they feel about those events and make sure that we're meeting their needs and can change those as needed and see fit. It's really fun to see the students, reading side by side with a special grown-up in their life, and so that's been a really fun opportunity for our students. There's also a picture from our Thank Fest. We have our Thank Fest the 2 days before Thanksgiving, where again, students can bring people who are important to them to enjoy a donut and some juice or coffee and milk. That's an event that we partner with our PTA for and have an amazing turnout every single year. And it kind of leads us into that community partnerships piece where our PTA is a wonderful resource. They support us, they support our students, and they help us kind of build some connections within the community. So this year, there was no limit to how many students or how many family members students could bring to Thank Fest. So that was a really wonderful opportunity to just have Richard Avenue full of love right before that, first kind of big holiday in this time of year. A new way that we've been able to support and recognize our staff through parent engagement and partnership is our families are able to share with me via a Google form a staff member who's made a difference in their lives or their students' lives. And so they kind of submit that either anonymously or they can sign their name, and then I just kind of fill out a little certificate and deliver that to the teacher to really just highlight the good work that our staff is doing. And I think one that stood out to me personally is a family member completed a little survey for our crossing guard. So that's somebody who is not really in our building on a day-by-day basis, but makes a difference in the lives of our families and our students. It was really special to be able to read that message and share that message of importance as well. Ultimately, who we are at Richard Avenue is rooted in our Richard Avenue promise. Every morning we start the day by saying that we're going to respect others, we're going to accept responsibility, we're going to ensure safety, and we're going to show self-discipline. And those four kind of pillars were our promise and our agreement as a staff, as a family community, and that came through our PBIS revamp. PBIS is Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. And over the past 3 years, we've kind of revamped that program. We really looked at what's important to us as a staff, what's important for our students. And what's really cool about that Richard Avenue promise is it actually came from 2 different submissions. We solicited feedback from staff and from families of, hey, these are the values that we've deemed are important. Help us create what that promise is going to be. And so we had a staff submission, a family submission, and then we kind of combined 2 most popularly voted on ideas to create that promise. We recognize our students through Good Choice Awards. You can kind of see in that top right picture, those are pumpkins. Every month has a different theme, so a different kind of visual. We have light bulbs up right now in the office. We'll have hearts later in February. So those students are recognized by staff members for making positive choices related to that Richard Avenue promise. And that kind of just ties together with our just overall kind of mindset of wanting to be thankful, wanting to be grateful, wanting to be kind. Our school counselor partnered with our classrooms to do a kindness campaign this year that tied into our Thank Fest opportunities, and really just helping our students learn that who they are as people not only is going to help them grow academically, but as an individual. And we've really been able to lean into our student council even more this year to help build those opportunities. Our student council came down to all of our grade level family mornings for Title I engagement and sat with our students whose families might not have been able to attend that day, and just really trying to continue to, foster that love for learning and love for each other at Richard Avenue. Be happy to take any questions if you have any tonight.
Tell me more about the student council. I'm intrigued. I like it.
Yes, so we have 2 staff members who kind of are the lead kind of point people there for student council. This year, our 3rd graders and 4th graders were eligible to apply for student council. They had to give their own little speeches and still be, nominated and voted on by their classmates. But our student council really is kind of that foundation and groundwork of a lot of the service projects that we do within the building. So currently, right now, we are partnering with Grove City Food Pantry. We have a canned food drive going on. Our student council kind of led that and kicked that off. They always kind of do some little spirit weeks throughout the year just to help with that morale with students. But they also usually have a couple other service projects that second half of the year. This was the first year that we've had them involved in those Title I family mornings, and that was a really great opportunity to allow our older students to just, still show the younger students, hey, this is important, learning is important, we're here for you. So that's been one of my favorite things that I've seen this year. That's been a new piece to our student council.
Like starting at the younger age, so they get the concept, of how it works as they go up. So then as they move on to the next levels of building, hopefully they will stay involved. in
Yes.
that Student council and those advocacy things. And if you want anybody to tell you how it is, the little ones come tell you.
Say, thank you, Anne-Marie. Just the community involvement and how you're engaging all the students, I just love. I'm wondering if you could just expand a little bit. I know that your grade level mornings, I love this, I've never heard of this before, is Title I. Well, how are you, I guess, maybe incorporating that, or what else are you doing in terms of your reading scores and kind of getting families engaged and involved that way?
Sure. So the first portion of those grade level mornings is just the parents or whichever family members came, myself, and then our literacy coach and our math coach. So we kind of do a little family information session those first kind of 15 minutes. We explain to our families what it means to be a Title I building or funded by Title I dollars, and kind of just shared with them some of the benefits that we are able to provide to our staff, to our students because of that designation. We also then use that time with those families to just talk a little bit about what is expected of our students, and we talk a little bit about like reading improvement monitoring plans and why it's important for us to start monitoring our students' academic achievement and progress as early as kindergarten. So we kind of start to prime those conversations as well, and then lead that into when the students come down, the teachers then kind of take over the event, and each teacher shares a little bit about each content area. So the next 15 minutes might be focused on reading. And those teachers will share, hey, these are the expectations that we have for second graders at the end of the year in terms of reading. Here are some ways that you can foster that at home. And then they might share some resources or some activities, and they might model for students and families what that might look like. This year, all of our students in the group, each grade level team, either selected a book to kind of root those skills in, or we had a variety of books that were at the level of my grade. And so students also got to practice those skills with their special grown-up or adult or family member that particular morning. And we did the same thing with writing and the same thing with reading. So families were able to see, hey, here's the expectation for this grade level, and here are some ways that we can practice that at home with our students. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, Marie, I just want to thank you. I mean, I've been over there, talked to you. You're doing great things over there. I went to Richard Avenue as a kid. The building's changed, but the environment you have kept up. Thank you so much for that. We could have got a better person to dot that I.
I was wondering if you were going to know that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on now to board reports. Are there any board reports?
I have one. Okay, so I am bringing forth a board report for the Nursing Services Committee. Just before we got started this evening, I was able to provide Hugh with a copy of this board report so that he has it for his minutes. But this is to be able to give the board and everyone an update of where we left off at. So the committee's last meeting was on Thursday, November 14th, at 10 o'clock, and we met right here in the boardroom. And the Nurses Service Committee, we reached a stage where we all agreed that further processing and exploration is required. And what that means is the next steps is we need, it's kind of like some more things to happen, and it needs to happen outside of the committee. The committee's scope has stopped at where it can go. And so it needs some more depth in work kind of behind the scenes. So the committee agreed they have to put their trust in me and my co-chair Kelly for us to work with the district and communicate back those things that they would like and where we're trying to go to, but we got to do that behind the scenes. The initiative is what I call the initiative for ongoing progress, right? The committee is aware that, what we decided was after that November 14th meeting, it's a nice spot for us to, I call it take a halt, take a pause, because we're at that spot where we need to do some more things behind scenes. Should we need to reconvene the committee, we explained that we can definitely reach out to them, the committee members, and reconvene at any time for that purpose. We agreed that we would inform the committee members of any updates or feedback that we obtain while we're working on the things that we are doing behind the scenes during their downtime. We didn't want to make sure we be respectful of those committee members' time, where we're not just meeting to rehash our things that we know we want, but because it's at a spot, it's kind of like, so now that brings me to, what is the committee's recommendations for the Board of Education in the district, right? One, that was seen in the presentation was updating of the job descriptions. So the committee has provided suggestions for updated wording of the job descriptions for nurses, med monitors, and health aides. These suggestions have been forwarded to the HR department for proper evaluation, legal review, and consideration. This is where that scope piece, we have to pause as the committee, because those things need to be handled by the entities or individuals that will cross-check those things and tell us if anything wrong with our wording, anything wrong with our recommendation, but also that's where bargaining units come in. So we want to make sure we're not crossing any lines there. But again, they're suggestions, okay? The next one is the utilization of the clinic handbook. This is where the committee, there has been increased discussion regarding more efficiency of using the clinic handbook. They already had one. They kind of updated some things in it, potential to add some other pieces to it, but they had an opportunity to share and express that with emphasis. We could encourage referencing of that clinic handbook more, and specifically, particularly when you have new clinic staff being hired in. That handbook can be referenced, it can be reminders, it can be different things for those new clinic staff members that's coming in, just to see if we can help close that gap and create some more consistency that's happening. So that clinic handbook, we're going to keep on encouragement of the utilization of it. The other aspect and final recommendation was about the committee acknowledgement that we would benefit from additional human resources in the area of student health. This could be in the form of nursing services, supervision, or physician services. Again, that's something behind the scenes that continues to be working in, some logistics is being looked at, but we recognize that many departments in our district need additional staffing. We've discovered the health offices also would benefit from staffing increases. We are hopeful that these needs will be considered in the future. So that is where the committee has landed. And so we're gonna let them get a pause and a break, as far as the committee, and go into winter break and just kind of keep them informed on some things that's in a work in progress. But we wanted to make sure you knew, where did it land? Where is it at? We continue to thank them for their collaboration, because it was a great opportunity, again, to bring the board members, administration, the district together to collaborate on something we all feel is very important and valuable to our district. And so we wanted them to know that they contribute something that, you know, we wouldn't have never made maybe some progress, or just being able to hear and listen from each other. And so we wanted them to know that those small efforts, just because you're taking a pause, don't want them to feel like, oh, we didn't get anywhere, we didn't do anything. No, you've gotten tremendous gains and steps ahead. It's just that good old process and parts where we have to wait a little bit to continue some work. So we'll keep some updates going. But that's what I wanted to make sure you guys knew.
Thank you, Camille. Any questions or anything from anybody?
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Moving on now, we got public participation related agenda items, which we have none. Moving on to student, staff, and Achievement Liaison with Kelly Martindale.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. Favorite part of the evening. Okay, so I've got a couple of great things to talk about tonight. The first one is congratulations to Westland High School's Air Force ROTC unit on earning an overall exceeds rating with corresponding number letter grade of 100/A after having a formal unit assessment in November. In the feedback, it was noted how impressed they were with the level of school support for our AFJ ROTC program and the exemplary pride and professionalism demonstrated by our cadets throughout the day. So congratulations to the cadets. That is fantastic to have a perfect score. Over Thanksgiving break, Marley Williamson, a sophomore and member of the Central Crossing High School Marching Band, earned a prestigious spot in the Macy's Great American Marching Band. Marley represented Central Crossing, the Grove City, the Southwestern City School District, and the state of Ohio in the nationally televised Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Marley secured this honor after submitting an impressive audition tape featuring a 3-minute etude and a demonstration of her marching and playing skills. Out of thousands of applicants, she was selected as one of 185 band members chosen from across the country, one of the few representing Ohio. So congratulations to Marley. I also want to say congratulations to Franklin Heights High School students Muzi Aiden and Kenny Quinn, who have been named recipients of the prestigious Quest Bridge Match Scholarship. This is funding of an award that comes with a full 4-year tuition to 52 of the nation's top colleges. Out of the applicant pool that eclipsed over 25,000 students nationwide, these Golden Falcons were among only 2,627 to be named recipients of this scholarship. Muzi's full tuition scholarship comes with admission to Stanford University, and Kenny's full tuition scholarship comes with admission to Case Western Reserve University. Both students plan to study pre-med in college, so congratulations to them. That is quite amazing. And then moving on to our Southwestern City School staff achievements. I mentioned this briefly at our last meeting, but congratulations to Grove City High School Band Director, Mr. Jason Graham, on receiving the prestigious Role of Distinction Award from the Ohio State University for excellence in teaching. Last month, during one of his classes, Mr. Graham is the 8th person to receive this honor, recognizing his exceptional dedication, innovation, and leadership in music education. 2 things to mention. Our Southwestern City School District gives back. Last month, over 40 Westland High School Air Force JROTC cadets braved the elements to team up with NBC4 to provide free Thanksgiving meals to our Galloway community. Together, they distributed 600 meals. Also in November, the District Service Center, DSC, staff conducted their annual DSC Gives Back donation drive, collecting 54 pairs of shoes, 39 coats, 112 sweaters, sweatshirts, and hoodies, 110 pairs of jeans and sweatpants, 34 packages of undergarments, 24 packages of socks, and all of these new items are going to be donated to the PTA clothing room, which is managed by the Southwestern Council of PTAs to support families in need across the district. Thank you for all those generous staff members. And I will say that that clothing room does accept donations all year round. So if you have warm weather items or even items for summer, those can be donated in the spring, and they are always excited to accept those. If you need any help getting a hold of who you need to get a hold of to donate, please feel free to email me. And that wraps up my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Martindale. Moving on now to items for action under fiscal and operational management with Mrs. Liskey.
Thank you, President Boso. Good evening, everyone. This evening, under fiscal and operational management, we have 8 action items. Can you hear me okay? I feel like I'm not very loud. Number 1 is revised permanent appropriations for fiscal year 2024-25. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the revised permanent appropriations, CX1. Number 2 is investments and financial statements for November 2024. It is recommended that in accordance with section 135.14 of the Ohio Revised Code, the Board of Education approve November investments, X2, and cash position report for the month of November 2024, see X3 as submitted. Number 3 is payment of bills. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve payment of bills according to the list of checks for the month of November 2024, see X4. Number 4 is donations. Donations totaling $104,684, see X5. Number 5 is authorization to pay bills in accordance with section 5705.41 of the Ohio Revised Code. It is recommended that the Board of Education authorize the treasurer to pay bills for November, which were not processed in accordance with section 5705.41 of the Ohio Revised Code, see X6. Number 6 is transfers. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the transfers as presented. And you can see X7 for this. There are 3 transfers from the general fund that occur each December as follows. One is qualified school construction bonds, the Southwestern Administrators Association Professional Development Funds, and the Southwestern Education Association School Enhancement Funds. There is a series of transfers from the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission project that has been completed that you'll see also, and this is a one-time transfer that will not occur in future years. Number 7, set date and time for the tax budget and organizational meeting. It is recommended that the Board of Education set the date and time for the tax budget hearing for fiscal year 2025-26 at 7 p.m. on Monday, January 6, 2025, with the organizational meeting immediately following. And number 8, elect President pro tempore for the organizational meeting. It is recommended that the Board of Education appoint Mr. Chris Boso as President pro tempore for the organizational meeting to be held Monday, January 6, 2025. The President pro tempore will lead the organizational meeting until the Board of Education elects a new president. And Mr. President, after reviewing these items, I would like to move them for approval.
Thank you so much. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mrs. Martindale. Roll call.
Ms. Liskini,
Yes.
Ms. Martindale.
Yes.
Ms. D'Angelo Steele.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Bosso.
Yes. Moving on now to items for action under policy with Ms. D'Angelo.
Thank you. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the second and final reading of the following new policies, just one new policy, policy 0165. And also it's recommended the Board of Education approve the second and final reading of the following deleted rescinded policies, policy 0165.1 and 0165.2, which policy 0165 is replacing these 2 policies. And also, second and final reading for 35 policies. They're on 2 different pages. And also recommend the Board of Education to approve the second and final reading of the following revised 35 policies. And after looking over all of these, I move them for passage.
Thank you so much. Can I get a second?
Second, Liskini.
Thank you, Mrs. Liskini. Can I get roll call, please?
Ms. D'Angelo Steele,
Yes.
Ms. Liskini,
Yes.
Ms. Martindale.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Bosso.
Yes. Moving on now to items for action under facilities development. Back to Ms. D'Angelo.
Yes. This is a resolution authorizing and approving the offering and disposition of 1062 School Street, Pleasant Township, Ohio, and 1122 North Cape Avenue, Franklin Township. Actually, a question before I read all of it. Of course, we could read it all and then ask a question, but with reading this, if these 2 properties do end up becoming for sale, like, does it come back to the board, or is
Yes,
this
it
the
would
last?
definitely come back to the board.
Okay, so this happens again?
Yeah.
Okay,
This is just exploring our options right now.
Thank you. So the item for action, facility development, whereas the Board of Education of the Southwestern School District desires to dispose of the following real estate, approximately 3.59 acre site lot located at 1062 School Street in Pleasant Township, Ohio, and approximately 4.57 acre site located at 1122 North Hague Avenue in Franklin Township, Ohio. The School Street property and Hague Avenue property are each a property and together are properties. Whereas the board is authorized by law to dispose of real property in accordance with the process outlined by the Ohio Revised Code. Whereas the board wishes to authorize the offering and sale of the properties in accordance with Ohio Revised Code. Now therefore be resolved, by the Southwestern City School District Board of Education, County Streets of Ohio. I move this service.
Thank you so much. Just a note, these are properties that are in our district that are too small that we would ever use for anything. I don't know if you would have any more to say on that, to enlighten me.
Yeah, they're both, one is, just over 3.5 acres, the other one's just over 5.5 acres, and one is in the most northeast portion of our school district where the North Franklin was. The other one's in the most southwest portion of our district where Harrisburg was, and we do have some cost in maintaining these properties. We tried to work with, Harrisburg and Franklin Township to let them use those and take care of those, but, they have decided not to do that, so we have been in talks with them to use those properties, but nobody's using them or just maintaining them. And, the basic size, the small size, like the OFCC will, use for an elementary site is 10 acres, and these are both too small for that, so, we're not really sure what we would use them for, so maybe through this process, some people will express some ideas on how we may use these properties, but in the meantime, we're gonna go through the process of seeing, just exploring the possibilities.
Thank you. Just to be clear, they don't currently have buildings.
They have
It's
no,
just land.
there are no buildings on them. North Franklin is completely, there's no playground equipment. Harrisburg site has a little bit of playground equipment and a little, like a picnic area, shelter house kind of thing. That also needs maintained.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you. I just wanted to give some more background to that. Can I get a second to move that forward?
Second, Peterson.
Thank you, Mrs. Peterson. Can I get a roll call, please?
Ms. D'Angelo Steele.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Ms. Liskini.
Yes.
Ms. Martindale.
Yes.
Mr. Rosa.
Yes. Moving on now for items for action under personnel with Mrs. Peterson.
Okay, we're gonna go just slightly out of order in my area. What I would like to do is to first, I would like to first take a moment of silence for Transportation Supervisor Timothy Cox, and then we will proceed further with this category. Timothy Cox. With great sadness, we learned of the passing of Tim Cox on November 22nd, 2024. Tim began his employment in Southwestern City School District. As the transportation supervisor on September 17, 2007. He has served as an integral part of the district, overseeing the transport and safety of our students over the course of 17 years. He will be greatly missed. When Tim stopped in the personnel department, he frequently said, "Thank you for hiring me." In recognition and appreciation of his many years of dedicated service to the students and staff of Southwestern City School District, a motion is in order by the Board of Education expressing our deepest sympathy to the family and friends of Tim Cox. Okay. I knew that was gonna be hard. Now I'm gonna get our numbers in. Moving on to the personnel, update for tonight. Before I say my numbers, you know I have to say my usual, we are hiring. And, of course, we are definitely still trying to push for the transportation, department and get More bus drivers, we are getting some slowly but surely. But again, if you know of anyone that would be great for our district, please direct them our way, especially for bus driving. We will help train, we will help them get their CDL, okay? Tonight, we have 9 personnel items involving 140 persons. 2 certificated resignations or retirements, 5 classified resignations, 8 certificated changes in employment, 86 certificated employment, 44 of which are supplemental, 10 classified changes in employment, and 27 classified employment. And one settlement agreement that is on our agenda for tonight, and the one message of condolences. After reviewing these items with the personnel department, I move them for passage.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please? Thank you, Ms. Lucille. Take a roll call.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. D'Angelo Steele,
Yes.
Ms. Liskini,
Yes.
Ms. Martindale, Mr. Bosso.
Yes. Before moving on, I just have to say, I don't know if everybody knew Tim. We were blessed to have Tim here. Tim was almost too nice to an extent. He wanted to get along with everybody. He was a good man. And like I said, we were blessed to have him. Thank you. Moving on now to items for action with Mrs. Peterson for our calendar and claim date.
Yes, okay. So now I bring forward, it is recommended that the Board of Education adopt the master calendar for the 2025-2026 school year, as well as adopt the Calamity Day contingency plan for the 2025-2026 school year. After reviewing these items, I move them for passage.
And moving to Ms. D'Angelo.
Yes, I'd like to, thank you, Mr. DeCastro, for doing all you did on this and, your, information with everything. Really appreciated and really appreciated the feedback that the community gave. It was really great to see so many people reaching out and responding to the posts and the forms and everything that you had out there. So I don't know, I know this is something after reading what the input was from the community. I think we should, have a little discussion about it. And I didn't know, my first time talking about a calendar, I'm not sure if there's reasons for why things are done certain ways or if there's some wiggle room with how things, like how we would go and adjust it. I know a lot of the comments were, one of the top of the 3 comments that were provided to us was, why is school ending on a Monday, June 1st, both on all realms in the community. But I didn't know if there was some feedback to that, if there were some bonuses to having school end on Monday the 1st, or if that's something that, could it be changed, or how would it be changed? What is an alternative, or is there an alternative to that?
Matt, do you have anything to add? Matt's here. Anything?
Yeah.
You're hiding.
No, I
Miss Rude. I see how you are. Bro's got them bald heads. I couldn't tell who's who.
No, he doesn't.
There we go.
I mean, there is a rhyme and reason behind everything when it comes to how many days students go to school. Actually, things like professional development days, things like where stuff falls for like state testing, that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of people that go into that. As far as using the calendar, I mean, haven't had that before, but I think I'll do what you tell me to do. So.
Well, I think this discussion is a good discussion to have, and I think it enlightened all of the board members to how the schedule is put out there and who organizes it and how it gets put out there. And it seemed to us that the community wasn't really asked about what they would like as far as the shareholders. I mean, like I said before, I have no kids. My daughter's going to be is a senior. I have no skin in the game, but there's parents out there that like to put their input in. And I don't think as a norm, we didn't do that in this district, but I think this is something we could do from here on out, which would help everybody. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say about this.
No, I was thankful and impressed to see the feedback that we received. So I thank the community for taking the time to share that feedback with us, because I'm the same as Chris. My kids are graduated, out of the school district, but again, that doesn't mean that we are not committed to really trying to come up with something that is neutral, and taking in consideration, everyone's needs in some form or fashion. So as, Chris say, out of the norm, yes, we break the norms all the time, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing's wrong with
Nothing
that,
wrong
but
with
it
that.
is showing, that shared piece of trying to really, show a listening ear. And so I absolutely agree with that.
So what's the,
So if we wanna change,
yeah,
so if we're saying that we don't want to end school on that Monday, June 2nd, we want to end it on the Friday before, then we need to make a motion
Okay,
to adjust
I understand that,
the
but
calendar.
where's that day going?
Kind of depends on what I think what your motion would be. You know, because if you move it one way, it'll shift some things, but it just kind of depends on what you guys looked at based on the feedback that you got, what you're recommending. Lock up anything.
And for people that don't know, we put it out there online as far as on our district website to give input to what our calendar looked like.
sorry, no, yeah, it's so like, let's not interrupt you.
Oh, you're fine.
So if we're just moving it a
Yeah.
day back, do we just start a day earlier?
So is that something that we would say?
Is that the
no,
simplest-
We recommend starting school one day earlier.
One day earlier?
So I motion to start one day earlier, ending school on Friday, but May, what day was that, in May, so sorry, I'm not.
29th?
29th, yeah, Friday. 29th.
Or do we need to go back to the drawing board? I don't think we need to overcomplicate.
And looking, and there was a lot of great feedback, which I think, again, this is the first time for these sort of things, so kind of baby steps in this area, and, by creating this change, maybe opens the door for possible other changes that were recommended as well, but, if this one is the change of just starting one day earlier, I can make a motion to, so we can, make the motion to adjust it now versus you taking it back to the drawing board. I will make that motion
Two.
to
And
start school one day earlier, and end one day earlier. So start school on
Which would be what date?
August 19th, Tuesday, August 19th. Yeah, so it'd be starting Tuesday, August 19th, ending on May 29th. Versus. And I can talk more too, because I know there's some questions that was brought up, like, you know, the staggered start, why is it only K through 3? Why isn't the whole K through 4 school? So, but that, again, like I said, another discussion for another time, but when I dive into one thing, there's like 10 other things that pop out. So I'm not ignoring that was brought up to me, but we'll stay on this right here, make a motion to move the start date to August 19th, ending on May 29th. And we'll still get our 177 student days.
I would just make a note that calamity days start on June 2nd on this, there might be.
And change the calamity days. Okay, I thought there were two parts to that. So then the graphic calendar, or the calamity day calendar. That's in the second one. So what am I saying there? So the calamity days, starting on June 1st. Okay, so we could still end on the first. You know, let Mother Nature decide.
So just out of curiosity, because I was studying the calendar earlier today, trying to see, you know, where would it hurt the least to add that day earlier in the year? And so my only question would be on March 27th. I know we have that following, so I mean, school's out that Friday. We still have a week. We're not losing anything. That's currently a professional day, slated as a professional day. So I guess my question would be, would it be preferable to the staff if that day was a regular school day and we did the spring professional day on Election Day, Tuesday, May 5th, where we do have the building closed to students? We could potentially move that professional day to make that, I don't know what the logistics are of that, or if that would be worse than starting a day early. I'm just looking and, you know, if we have teacher work days on that Monday, Tuesday of that first week of August, does that mean now that the teacher work days are gonna need to be that Friday, the 15th.
Yes,
So-
yes.
I'm just not sure if it were me looking at this and trying to figure out where are we gonna hurt the least by moving these things around in order to help, get the community out on that last Friday in May, if it wouldn't be a better idea. And I don't know if this has to be voted on tonight. If it does, or if it does not, then I would make a motion to pause this and let's dig a little bit more into what day would be the best to take out of the school year, before we make a major decision, just based on.
You can do that, because the Ohio Revised Code that we're following, you have to have a calendar out. How soon for Ohio Revised Code? I think it's.
I don't know, it's usually done by now. It's usually like last meeting.
If we do it in January, I think we're still within at least, I know it's 90, it's only 90 days.
Then you can also, if you need to adjust, like sometimes they'll have like special elections, you need to adjust the calendar, there's just a time frame that you have to make sure.
Right, I knew that was all in there, but I think we're still in that time frame of following that Ohio Revised Code of, the calendar, the makeup of the calendar, and then it goes into, you can see all the hours and everything in there, and, yeah. I'm okay with that too, if that works for Mr. DeCastro and everybody that was a part of the
Is
process.
is that workable? Is there any major?
I can do whatever, there's a lot of things that go into that, right, so.
Right, okay, so let's talk about that this week. I'm gonna come in, we're gonna talk, we're gonna figure out.
So, then, I will rescind whatever I just said, and we will not move that for passage.
Table it.
Table
Table
it.
it. Don't shift the one that,
I just,
Friday.
There's no motion that doesn't move forward, it's just table.
Okay.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Because what was your part? What did you ask if we wanted to do that?
Right, because of that Friday,
Right.
what Kelly was saying was the next.
Yeah, no, it'd be great to use like one of the voting days, the day of school or something like that that's definitely a good idea to look at.
I just think I would be interested to pose that question.
Oh, yeah.
To everybody that is gonna be impacted by this change,
Yeah.
to make sure that, I'm fine if we start school a day earlier. I would just like to know for sure that that's gonna be
Yeah.
the least disruptive way to do it.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. I agree.
Working our brains.
This is the only time we get to talk about it.
We don't get it.
Okay.
So we're gonna be tabling the motion on the vote for the calendar. Okay, but we still have the vote on the calamity date.
Yeah.
No.
You're right.
Vote
Because
involved.
they will be- Right. Because wherever we go, then it's how you have to figure out your complaint.
And then we'll figure out the graduation date. Did we figure out graduation date?
Yeah, graduation is set.
That's
You have it this year? Okay.
You another they're graduating.
I know.
It's on
It's
Saturday.
still on my calendar. It's usually determined, so.
We're good, Hugh? We're good.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we're gonna be moving on now to public participation on non-agenda items, and we have one speaker, and it will be Ira Paul. She will be speaking on community outreach and connection.
Hello, everybody. I hope everyone is well. It's interesting, we were talking about all of the land and things that apparently our district isn't using anymore because my topic was about utilizing another space, but depending on where this could go, that could be an option. As it was also discussed about DSC and their wonderful donation to the clothing closet, it was incredible to have a donation, to receive it, and be a part of helping organize it, get it put away. I know a couple of you have been to the clothing room. It's about the size of a living room. It's very, very, very small, and it is stuffed to the gills. And Joy Mesger, I'm sorry, I'm going to call you out. She has been working on this project on her own for years, but we have taken some steps, and she now has hands, and we are knocking some stuff out, which is wonderful. While we were going through those things, one of the biggest things we noticed is someone made a donation of brand new business attire, like what you guys are wearing, which is an incredible donation because I think about You know, if, Anne Marie at Richard Avenue got a request from a parent that they were like, hey, I have an interview, but I don't have any clothes to wear. Yes, go to the clothing closet because they have an area of just these things. Well, we don't have space to have an area for just those things. It's just kind of in there and good luck finding it. And we just saw so much potential. So originally, and this is, as Mr. Bosa and I have talked about, you know, I have some lofty dreams for our district, but it's to benefit our community as a whole and not just, you know, my kids or my kids' school. We have the Old Styles Family Resource Center, and I know that that building is not in great shape, and I know it's gonna need a lot of work to bring it up to where it should be. But that building could be transformed to be so much more. I think about the rooms that are there, one could be for just women's clothes, and women could try the clothes on and know that they fit before they take them. Same for men, same for children. We could partner with organizations for non-perishable foods, even bringing in meal services where people are coming for fresh meat, fresh veggies, fresh produce, and take those things with them. Our district does have so many wonderful connections. I would love to see us expand on that and bring some of the services that we are sending our families to that maybe aren't close to home. We provide it, and as a PTA, I would love to be able to partner with the district, with the Board of Education, work on trying to find grants. Grants are out there, and agencies and organizations here locally use them. Across the nation, they build brand new buildings utilizing grants. And I would love to show that our school district of 22,000 children and all of the people in the community, we show up. People want to help. People want to be a part of. Let's show them that we can do this. Let's put our district in a positive spotlight. Unfortunately, people focus on the negative and they don't always see the positive. And we do a lot of great, but this would be a wonderful, wonderful way to highlight that. Let's show everybody that our district is committed to fostering the success of not just our students, but their families and members of the community. And with something like this, I wish with board policy, this is something that then we could have like a quick discussion back and forth about, and we can't at present. Because I feel like there could be some wonderful talking points. And when members like me or other members of the community speak, we just kind of are at the mercy of you guys responding or reaching out when maybe there could be just a quick, here it is now. So I just wanted to say that, but that's all I had for tonight.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And I just want to thank all the PTA across this district. They give so much to our district on their own free time, putting in for these kids, and definitely doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you. Moving on now for items for discussion. Any items for discussion?
I have one more thing. I would like to ask that we schedule a planning meeting before the strategic meeting in February. I think this would help narrow down some of our issues and concerns. Some of the topics I'd like more time to discuss as a group are what we're going to do with transportation and security. And I'd just like to hear options for bringing in potential outside vendors to help with some audits maybe. I didn't know if Mr. Banks, this was something that we could potentially do, to set up another date in the calendar, kind of like what Ms. Hall was just talking about, like having, more sessions to have conversations so we know kind of where to go from here. I also agree with you that we do need to have more times like this to have discussions. But no, if we could if we can put another meeting in before the strategic meeting in February.
I'm sure we can do that, Randy, right?
Yeah, it's like up to you guys. Do I need to make a motion to do that?
We're gonna vote on a calendar at the organizational meeting, so we can put some other dates out there just to talk about it then.
Thank you.
Great. Anybody else? Seeing nothing else, I move that we go into executive session. It's recommended the Board of Education adjourn to executive session in accordance with policy 0166 to prepare for conduct, review, negotiations, or bargaining sessions with public employees to consider the appointment, employment, discipline, promotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, in discussion with the board's legal counsel of disputes involving the board that are subject of pending or immediate court action. I don't expect us doing anything else. After executive session, you're more than welcome to stay. And I get a motion to go to executive session.
Good.
Who was it?
Oh, me.
Thank you, Mrs. Martindale. Can I get a second?
Y'all second.
Thank you. Roll call?
Mrs. Martindale?
Yes.
Mrs. D'Angelo Steele?
Yes.
Ms. Liskini?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Bosso?
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a good evening.